Hey, what's up guys? Valley Flying here. I am back. Welcome to the channel. Hey, if this is your first time here, make sure you smash on that subscribe button just so you get all the updates so you can stay up to date whenever I put out new content, primarily about Marvel Strike Force, just to help you improve your game. Now, a few weeks back, I started doing a top 10 list on the different classes. I started with the blasters, then we did the brawlers, then we went on to the protectors, and now we are on our next one. It took me a little while because I thought Star-Lord and Loki were being released and I wanted to wait for them to be released, but we got Deadpool last week and Cable, so I'm not sure when they're going to come about, so we're continuing on with the series right now. Now before I get into it, let me show you who we got in the class because I want you to pause the video and leave who you think are going to be in the top 10, or I mean, they're all going to be at the top 10, even some of the bad characters, because there's only 10 of them. So, who you think your top 10 are, I want you to pause the video, leave it in the comments down below. I think 1 and 3 are pretty much set in stone, so are 9 and 10. After that, all the middle ones, there's kind of some wiggle room, and I want to see what your opinion is, and see if we're in alignment after the video is. So, if you haven't done it, make sure you leave that comment right now. Let's get into the list. So, we got a few characters here. Some are pretty bad, and let's just start off with the list. Number 10, one of the worst characters in the game, Ronan. Yes, he does make this list by default because there's only 10 characters in this class. So let's look at his hit real quick. His basic attack, not that bad. It clears, a positive effect, which is good. The damage is a little low, and I think that's what his big problem is throughout his whole kit, is his damage is just so low. He has his second skill, which clears negative effects from himself and allies, not that bad. Heals self and Cree allies for 3,000 health and 5% of his character's max health. Not a big heal. This 5% doesn't do a lot, and it's only for Cree. And in a already weak character kit, this should be for all allies or something. Maybe upping this percentage. This universal weapon, his ultimate skill, is very weak damage. Apply ability block to 1 to 2 enemies per turn. Not that bad. That's not that bad, but this damage is just so low, it really doesn't do a lot. He's getting some extra resist. Applying extra resist to Cree allies, just a very underwhelming kit for someone that should have been a huge character, just by the way he was in Guardians of Galaxy. That's pretty much all to say about Ronan. Very underwhelming, probably one of the worst characters in the game. Let's move on. Number 9, Aim Infector. This guy probably wouldn't have been on the list either, but there's only 10 characters, so someone has to make it. Now, who's worse, Aim Infector or Ronan? It's really hard to say. Both of these guys are pretty bad. Let's look at his attack. His basic attack is actually not that bad. Attacks the primary target for okay damage. He's going to pass any negative effects on this character to target, so again, not that bad. And has 70% chance to apply offense down, defense down, or slow to target. So his basic attack is not that bad. Where the horribleness of this character comes is in his second skill. Gain 2 to 3 random negative effects for 2 turns. That hurts. Because I guess what you're supposed to do is get these negative effects and pass them on to characters, but if he gets a slow or a defense down, this character could be dead before he even passes these on. He's going to get a little heal, he's going to get some of his max health, and he's getting some speed and more health, but just an overall bad character. I don't like this design. I do like that you're trying different things with certain characters' kits, but in practice, all of these aim characters are just so weak because they're giving negative effects, random negative effects, that could kill pretty much the whole team. If you give him defense down, it could be over before it even starts. Let's move on. So this is where the list really should begin, at number 8. And number 8 on the list is Hand Assassin. Yes, this Hand Assassin is a pretty good character. You're getting a good attack, you're getting another good attack on the special, and you're getting heal block. Now, when you look at the rest of the characters in the control class, this one doesn't really fit. I feel Hand Assassin really should be in the brawler class because the only controlling that she really does is this heal block, and there's not a lot of control. He's mainly attack, so I think she would fit perfectly in this brawler class. As it is right now, good damage and that heal block, getting a little extra damage. Solid character. You could actually make an argument to move her up a few spots, but I placed her here just because it doesn't really add a whole bunch of utility to the team. Just gives a bunch of damage, which is not bad. But that's where I ranked Hand Assassin number 8. Let's move on. Number 7, Cree Nobu. So I like a lot of these Cree characters. On their basic, most of them have a chance to give ability energy to 1 to 2 allies. Cree Nobu does the same thing. Attacks the primary target, does some good damage, and you get some ability energy. Alright, so next, or possibly getting some ability energy because it's only 10%. Next attack, you're getting a team attack. If that's Cree, they also gain offensive up, and then you're attacking the primary target for 465% damage, getting some good attack. You're getting a team attack. And they're getting offense up if it's Cree. You're probably running Cree Nobu in a Cree team, so they're probably going to be a Cree that is called for that assist. And on assist, you're going to heal that ally for 15% of this character's max health. So this is a good second skill when you're taking into account you're getting some heal, they're getting offense up, and then Cree Nobu is doing some big damage as well. And you're getting Cree allies heal for 15% of this max character's health instead. So, you know, getting a little bit of heal. Good character comes in number 7, and yeah, this is a solid class, except for those first 2 that I mentioned. Ronan and Aim Infect are really bad. The rest of the class is actually pretty solid. But let's move on. Number 6, Vision. So he's a new character, just had his blitz a few weeks ago, and he's okay. He does have that Avenger tag, has a controller tag. Let's talk about him a little bit. Basic attack is pretty good. Doing decent damage, 50% chance to chain additional target for 150% damage. Apply offense down against tech and each tech enemy, and 80% chance to apply offense down to additional targets. So, decent basic attack. Nothing's wrong yet with his kit. A dive bomb. Attacking the primary target for 180% damage, plus adjacent targets for 140% damage. So he's got a chain and a blast adjacent target attack. Apply ability block to a primary target. That's actually a pretty decent second skill. Solar beam. Attack all targets for 220% damage, so it's an okay AoE attack. This is where it really suffers a 50% chance to clear 2 positive effects. If you're bringing him on the team to be your debuffer, this 50% chance really doesn't cut it. I think it should be moved up to 70% chance at the minimum. But I would like to see this go up to 100%. Let me just go see what happens at level 7. Still doesn't go up. That chance is where this whole character really suffers because of this 50% chance. It needs to be a little higher for him to be a really solid character. He's not a bad character by any means, but just he needs something to make him good. I think being a Dispeller will make him good, but at this 50% chance, it really hurts him. When you're facing him, this extra dodge on his passive does help and is very annoying. And you're getting defense up for 2 of the lowest health tech allies at the beginning of the game. So not a great character, but not a bad character either. I think he's just a very solid character at this point. You might even make the argument that Cree Nobu can surpass him in the ratings. But as I rated him now, number 6 on the ratings. Not great, not bad, just a very solid character. Let's move on. Number 5 is Nobu. Yes, Nobu, one of the best characters during the beta. Got a little bit of a nerf. Still is a very good character. Let's look at his kit. His basic attack. Attacking the primary target for 240% damage. Very good. 70% chance for him to gain stealth. So that's another good thing. Prevents Yondu's attack. Prevents some of those chain attacks from continuing on. Very good stuff on the basic. Plus a 40% chance to gain an assist from a hand ally, and you're probably running Nobu in a full hand team, so good stuff. Good basic attack. I like this one as well. Summon 2 hand ninjas at 300% normal damage, 100% of health. They changed that in one of the patches that the health went up to 100, but I haven't noticed a real difference in any of these minions being more tanky. But this is a good skill. He summons either Hand Archer or Hand Blade Master. So Hand Blade Master is just a pure damage machine, and Hand Archer does some good damage but has that big dispel as well. So it's some good minions to summon. Gain 1 to 2 counter to all allies. That is an okay skill. I would expect a little bit more from an ultimate skill, but it's a good skill, not a great skill. Yeah, I think it's okay. I mean, maybe if they reduced the cooldown on this, maybe made this cost 4 energy, could make him a little better. I don't think it's that important of a skill to be waiting for 3 turns for, but he's a good character. Just again, kind of like Vision, not a great character though. All right, let's look at his passive. Hand allies get 5% chance to revive on death. It's pretty nice. It is a very low % chance. They're gonna only revive at 20% health, so probably taking 1 hit, they're back to being dead. Non-hand allies get a 5% chance to revive on death with a 15% health, so still getting that 5% chance. I think it should be a little more for hand allies, maybe a 10% chance. Not a huge chance. I think you'll make him overpowered if it makes it a huge chance, but if you raise it up to maybe 10% or so, I think he'll be a much better character and can possibly move into that number 4 spot. But as it is, number 4 on the ratings, Jessica Jones. I think she is hugely underrated. Very good character. Very good utility character. Not gonna bring her for damage. Not gonna bring her to protect everybody, but what she does very well. Decent attack on her basic. 50% chance on a bonus attack on that basic, but this is what I really like. 50% chance to gain 1 ability energy on each attack. So if you're doing 3 attacks, you could possibly pass 3 ability energy to the rest of your team. I think this is one of the better basic attacks in the game. I really like it. Her giving energy is what really makes her kit. Alright, Shake It Off. Clear negative effects from self, which is good. Clear 3 negative effects from allies, that's okay. Generate 1 ability energy to 4 random allies. This is huge. Now, it doesn't need to necessarily go to 4 random allies. It could be 2 to 1 ally, 1 to another, and then 1 to another. So, or it could be all 4 to... I haven't seen it happen, but I guess in theory it could be all 4 to 1 ally. But just the way it's worded, I've seen it go to multiple energy to allies. So just the wording on that is a little strange. This is a big clear. Now there's a hidden thing in the game where Jessica Jones and Hand Archer actually have a huge focus when trying to clear these effects. So she's going to attack the primary target for some decent damage, but clearing 2 positive effects. She has a huge focus, so pretty much removing 2 positive effects. They're not going to be blocked. Her and Hand Archer have that big focus that really helps them with them. Best single target dispel in the game, and then you're getting extra resistance to city allies and extra resistance to all allies, including this character. Just a very solid character that's going to be helping you many ways with this energy and clearing negative effects and clearing positive effects off the energy, and just doing a lot of background work for this character. I think she's very good. Yeah, I think she should be on a lot of people's B, C, or D teams. Maybe not necessarily on the A team, but this is a very good character. Alright, let's move on. Number 3. Now, I think most people had this person at number 3. If you did, the comments in the section down below rating the list. Number 3, I don't think there's anyone that can deny that it is Hawkeye. Yes, he comes in at number 3. The top non-Quake, non-Black Widow character in the entire class. Very solid kit. Even if it doesn't work correctly, he still deserves this rating. And even if it worked correctly, I'm not sure he could pass the other 2 in the class. Let's talk about his kit. talked about it many times because he is rated very well in many other things that I've talked about. All right, attack the primary target for some good damage. He has a 10%, he's gaining 10% crit chance and 20% piercing with his attack, and it is unavoidable. Good basic attack. All right, this is what I normally bring him for. I normally bring him for his Dispel Concussion Arrow. Clears 3 positive effects on the primary and adjacent targets. Reduces speed bar of the primary target by 20%. This is what doesn't work. I don't think it was fixed in this last patch. Attack the primary target for 140% damage. It does that. As of right now, I don't think it attacks the adjacent targets. But even without that, it still does clear the positive effects. And we will see what happens. Maybe they will do a stealth fix on this, and it might be working all of a sudden one day. Alright, so that is a good skill. That's, for me, that's what really makes him. That's why I brought him on the team in the beginning. But this ultimate attack is really, really good. It applies blind to all the targets, and it's unavoidable. Doesn't always do it, and I'm not sure if it's getting resisted, so it might be a bug that it's not being applied to all the targets, but it applies it to a lot of them. It's gonna attack for a low attack. Hawkeye's not a big attacker, but this blind, what it does is reduce the accuracy by 100%, so all the characters that have 100% on their accuracy is gonna not be able to hit their next turn. The exception is Hawkeye. He has 170% accuracy. Bullseye has 130% accuracy, and Daredevil has 205% accuracy. So not all characters will be affected the same from the blind, but many people have said this, and I do agree with this. I think blind is a better skill to have on the enemy than stun. Stun, they're not going to take a turn. Blind, they will take the turn, and if it is not one of those 3 characters that I mentioned, they're going to waste the turn, possibly one of their ultimate skills, possibly one of their huge special skills. So having them waste that skill and putting it back on cooldown, I think is a lot better than just stunning the turn and having that big move come up the next turn. 50, this is another huge move. You notice it when you're fighting someone like Black Widow. On turn, 50% chance to attack enemy with stealth, and 170% unavoidable damage. So it's like a free attack that he's getting. Half the chance, half the turn, half the time, especially when you're going up against maybe a hand team or, like I said, Black Widow, and you're going to clear the stealth. So this is a big move that many people don't even take into account when they rate Hawkeye so high. One of the best characters in the game, and would be the top character in the game if not for these next 2. Now, I've said this before, I flip-flop on who I think is number 1 and number 2, sometimes daily, because I really like these 2 characters, and you could flip-flop them. You could flip-flop them and still be a good list, but right now, as of making this video, number 2, I have Quake in that spot. And she, like I said, she could easily be moved up to number 1, but I think the stuff that number 1 does is a little, slightly better. Quake has a little more attack though. Alright, so let's look at her kit. The best basic in the game, in my opinion. Attacking the primary target and adjacent targets for 125% damage. The skill is not the best basic in the game for that damage though. It is for this slow. Applying slow the primary target and adjacent targets for 2 turns. That is huge. You're slowing the enemy down by 50%. That can be a game changer if you use it in the right situation. Alright, Shockwave. This is a good skill. Very, very good skill, but probably one of her worst skills, because, I mean, probably her worst skill just because the other 2 are so good. Alright, attacking the primary target for 185% damage. Okay, it clears 2 positive effects, and she already has a high focus, so unless you're going up against Thanos or someone with a very high resistance, probably clearing those effects. 40% chance to chain up to 2 targets for 140% damage, and also clearing 2 positive effects. So possibly a mass dispel with this. 40% chance for it to be a mass dispel. Definitely a dispel though. Alright, very good skill. Her ultimate is so good though that it bumps that one down. All right, attack enemies for 270% damage. Good stuff, because it's a big AoE, doing some good damage. Applying offense down on 5 enemies for 1 turn, which means they're not hitting you as hard. So not only can she slow the enemy, not only can she clear 2 positive effects on her second, but she also is applying offense down and a pretty decent attack for someone that's also applying offense down, and you're not really bringing to your team for her attack. This is a pretty good attack. All right, and then she also gets some extra focus for herself. She gets some shield allies get a little extra damage, and inhuman allies get a little extra focus. Right now, she's the only inhuman in the game, so this doesn't really matter except to herself. But yes, solid character. I have no problem if you want to rate her #1. Later today, I will probably be thinking she's #1. But as it stands right now, Quake is #2. And coming in at the #1 spot on the list, Black Widow. Unfortunately, she is not farmable right now, except in those premium orbs and maybe in the Blitz if they rotate her often enough. But she is a very good character. I'm actually going to start with her second skill because this is what really makes the character. Camouflage tech. Best skill in the game in my opinion, because I think speed up is so valuable, and she doesn't just do that to herself or some of the allies, she gets that to everybody. Gains stealth 2 turns, clearing negative effects himself. Grants speed up to all shield and Avenger allies for 2 turns. That is huge. Now, I say it gives it to everybody because you're probably not running her in a non-shield, non-Avenger team, but if you are, you still have a 60% chance to get speed up to all additional allies for 2 turns. This is a huge move. Her and Quake on the same team. The rest of the team can be pretty okay, and you're gonna have a good team because of the speed up and slow down buff and debuff that they can apply with just in combination with each other. Sabotage, this is her basic. Does some good damage, and if she is in stealth, she's gonna copy the positive effects on the primary target, and she's gonna clear them. So she's gonna gain them, she's gonna clear them off the target. Only thing that she doesn't do is a taunt, which means that you still need to bring somebody if you're running her on your team to clear a taunt so you can get around that tank, because I think that right now that's one of the most important things to have on your team, someone that can clear a taunt off a tank. Widow's Bite, this is another solid skill. Attack the primary target for 230% damage and apply stun. I love that move in the raids, especially when you have it right on turn 1, because you set it up from a previous battle and you could just stun their big threat. 60% chance to chain up to 3 additional targets for 170% damage, plus applying bleed for 2 turns. Good stuff. Bleed might not sound a lot, but it has killed characters on my team and the other team when I'm facing them. Yeah, it's just a 10% damage, but you know, if you're down very low health, that could kill either yourself or the someone on the team. Very underrated skill. Can be big though in certain situations. All right, Saboteur, gaining 10% speed. So she's already one of the fastest characters in the game, gaining 10% speed. So at that point, she is the fastest character in the game. And then when she gets that speed buff, surpassing everyone in the game. Now, Karath, with his buff working correctly, is going to start out a little faster than her, but once she gets that speed up from her camouflage tech, she's faster than Karath. And in stealth, she's going to gain offense up at the level 4 of this ability. So not super huge to get that offense up because she's not a huge damage dealer anyway, but it's nice to know that she's dealing a little extra damage. So that is it. That is the list. I tried to keep it a little shorter. Let me see how long this video. Oh, 24 minutes already. Didn't go short at all. Anyway, that is the list. Let me know what you think and reply to your own comment if you left one so I can see how you guys did. I will see you guys next time. More good stuff, more stuff with Deadpool, more of these raids, and we got that Cable Blitz coming up later in the week, so I'm probably going to be filming every single battle of those. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, click on the notifications button so you can stay notified every time I post a new video. I will see you guys next time. Smash that like button, smash the subscribe button. Valley Flying, out.